more sophisticated. I don't have like laser light shows, smoking pop machine.
That's a pretty good intro.
For sure.
Too many accolades to even mention. He's made. You already know that. That's why you're here. Keep it short and sweet. You're welcome. Get a little circuit going here. Pack it in. I don't think I've ever actually taught this many people at once. It is a really cool experience for me too. Really appreciate you guys being here. Gosh, there's so much I want to go over today. You know, there's things that like I feel like everyone needs and everyone wants, and then there's like what I want to give you. So I'm gonna try and mix it up between all that. Maybe some of the stuff you've seen, maybe you haven't. But one thing I'm really into right now is foot sweeps. Okay, and so there's a little variation. Let's see, Brian, who should be my uke? Was that AJ? AJ, why don't you come be my uke? Yeah, that's what's up. Look at that hair. How's it going, bro? Good to see you, man. Yeah. Okay, so check this out. What I'm really into, I really like learning how people weight distribution of their feet, right? You totally nerd out on that for a really long time. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna both have our left foot forward for now. This is what I call a staggered stance. Okay, and we're just kind of in our little grappling stance here. What I want to do is stagger just a little bit more for me, and I want you to just really be very, very light about this and try to feel the intricacies. Okay, because foot sweeps are all about intricacies, right? The timing and it's little tiny movements. Now maybe you guys have seen how I like to do my arm drag, where I go and I block this foot. Okay, the idea behind it is, look, if I pull on AJ's head, right, and all he's got to do to not tip forward is move his feet, right? He keeps his feet underneath him. I can't pull him forward, or I can't snap him forward. But if I block his feet, now all of a sudden, right, he's bending over. So that's what this is all about. So blocking the feet, tipping them over. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna push on him a little bit. I'm just going super light right now because I haven't warmed up, and this is a good way to kind of sync up with my partner. I'm just gonna push on him just a little bit. Now there's obviously degrees in everything you do. Sometimes it's like the most extreme and dynamic variation. Sometimes it's just a little one. Okay. So the most extreme and the dopest, like if this happens, you know, sometimes you get it and it's really cool. I'm here and I'm just trying to shift that weight. If I can kick that foot out just like that, right? Again, if I can get all the weight off of this foot, yeah, that's all I'm looking for. It doesn't always happen. I'm just saying the extremes here. Kicking that foot out just like that. Okay, so here, it's a little bit of a push, and then as I see his weight shift, I'm gonna now snap and kick. And even if his foot doesn't kick out like that, that's like the dopest when that happens. Rarely happens that perfectly. But either way, all I really want to do is this. If I were to do just a little, just that. Okay, I'm pushing. Of course, that makes him want to push back. So now I use his momentum coming toward me. I use the bottom of my foot. Call it cat stance. That's what some karate guy, I was showing him this. He's like, oh, we call that cat stance. I'm like, good enough for me, right? A little push, a little snap. Okay? And then go all the way to the front headlock. I'm just rolling my shoulder over, right? Depends on my my stance, what I'm gonna do, but rule of thumb that I use is I never like, not never, you can break all the rules of course, but I don't like to reach with my front hand because that leaves my front leg exposed. So I call my front hand my defending hand. My rear hand is my attacking hand. So, in this case, my defending hand is my front, is my left. My attacking hand is my right. So again, now if I were to be snapping, I wouldn't want to snap like I'm saying with my front hand. I would snap with my left to the right. So now I can't snap with my left, right, because I'm exposed. So that's what I have to do is shoulder roll over, as opposed to snapping to the front hand. You understand? So either way, this is a shoulder roll. It's a real push. It's a little block and snap. Okay? I go roll my shoulder over. I've got the chin strap. I got the meat of my thumb on his chin, and now this foot that is blocking his shin is now basically going to kick it back and sprawl. Okay. Now I'm sprawling to my hip because when I sprawl, when I snap people down and I'm on my knees, I can only get so low. Right? I can only put so much weight on the back of his head with my shoulder. But when I sprawl onto my hip, man, now there's a lot more weight on him. Understand? So let's be sure and watch our space because it's pretty packed in here. But here's what we're just going to start warming up with. Just a little push, a little snap. Doesn't have to be all crazy. I roll, kicking that leg back, right? And I'm dropping to that hip. And then I do this big back step here. Right? A couple different reasons. I mean, you could just, at this point, this is, again, just a really great way to snap someone down and be heavy on them. You could also, again, just square it up now. But really try to work on that sprawl into your hip. Okay, the reason I like that, because now I'm all charged up to start either running around him, I start going this way, or usually they try to catch up with me, so I just whip them by. Old high school wrestling style, right? So here's our first thing we're going to start with. Push, snap, rolling the shoulder, sprawling back, do my big step. I could stop just like this and go into whatever game, or again you could practice starting to run around the corner. He tries to catch up with me, throw him back. Right? See what's going on? You don't always have to do everything, right? Just do what you can do. Work on the first step until you're so solid in that step that you're ready to move on to the next. And again, guys, I really try to bring the martial arts to everything I do, right? So it's not always about going and snapping and sometimes it's literally, I just want to feel intricacies of everything. Right? Questions? Let's do this. Oh, that was a good one. Sorry, what?
Which way you shoved him, so when you throw him and go around him.
Yes.
Can his arm come up and go to a downward?
Everything can always happen. Right? I mean, everything is possible. For him and for me. Okay, so a couple different things about this. It's first of all, if we were to talk about everything we could do or that could happen, there's not enough time to then focus on what we're trying to focus on, right? There's so many variables in jiu-jitsu. It's pretty infinite like that. So sometimes you just have, just for the sake of reps, you gotta take things for granted, but I love to break it down too. So look. Let's say AJ grabbed onto my leg right now. Because I have this chin strap and this leg's already up, I can really donkey kick it back. That's one of the reasons I do that, in case they do grab my leg, right? But I'm telling you, this snap right here, this has really been changing my game. Now let's get to a slightly more traditional position, just a regular old front headlock. Okay, so usually I go behind in wrestling, let's say I go chin strap, I put all my weight on him. You're right, if I wanted to go around him, there's a really good chance he's gonna grab my leg and slow me down with his noise. Maybe I'll 10-finger grip him or something. There's always an answer. Like chess, right? It's a back and forth game. So typically, a regular go behind, I would clear the arm. And now, as I circle, can you grab me? Can you grab my leg? Just that little tiny block stopped that from happening, right? Okay, so here, smooth. So we're down. So that's the typical direction, right? Usually in high school wrestling, that's the first thing you learn. You learn a snap down and a go behind. Front headlock. Blocking the arm, go behind. I mean, really, pretty typical there. So, everyone gets used to that. So AJ thinks, I'm trying to get behind him. So he follows me. trying to get behind him. I'm trying to get behind him. I'm trying to get behind him. And just because of that timing, right? I now just like harness that moment. Come feel it. It might make a difference for you. Okay, so again, I'm here. I'm trying to go behind you. You're trying to keep up with me. You're trying to keep up with me. And then that. Oh yes, you tried.
Yeah.
And again, and you might. And then if you did, I would probably, powder keg you or whatever else. So you shut me down, I'll shut you down. We go back and forth like that. Just a couple more reps. Okay, look. We need to both be in a staggered. We need to be in a staggered stance, not a mirrored stance. So maybe some of you were drilling this and that was messing you up. Both have our left foot forward. My rear foot is coming forward. Obviously, nothing is ever that perfect, but if you can't do something at the totally choreographed, totally, coordinated, helping each other, you're not going to be able to do it when someone's fully resisting you. So we have to get it right at the lowest level to even come close ever to, when someone's fully resisting. Right? 1, 2, 3. Okay. And again, to me, it's a different variation, or it's in the same family as my arm drag that I like. It's that same. I just like. The thing about the foot sweeps that's so dope is all of a sudden I start kicking people's feet, and they start getting their feet back, which makes them really easy to snap down. Right? So it's not just about the foot sweep at all, right? It's like this. It's not about the leg lock. Leg lock, set up your passing sets up your leg locks. Head snaps, set up your foot sweeps, set up your head snaps. Okay? All right, so we're gonna do some reverse gut wrench stuff. All right, which is a system I've been working on for a really long time. That I've kind of like adapted over from Greco-Roman wrestling, and it's turned into some other weird things, like what I did last weekend with CJJ. I think that reverse, that full Nelson with the legs. Like maybe to some people that looked like a fluke or an accident, not to my students. To my students, they're like, damn, he does that to me all the time. You know what I mean? So again, here's where we're at. Okay, we can snap or whatever else. We can keep doing all this. But look, whenever I'm in this headlock position, right? So many options, right? I could go for the neck. I could start going for arms. Next thing I could do is start going for the body. Okay, and again, this is fairly. I don't really see many people do this, so take it for what it's worth. But it's working for me. I just used it in competition against a really tough dude, So that's how I can qualify it. So I'm in my front headlock, and again, like an advantage is to do something people have never seen before, right? I mean, it's easier to defend things you've seen. It's really hard to defend things you've never seen. You don't even know what's going on, right? You break people's loop, and they're confused and they don't know where they are, and it's all weird. So, actually, really quickly, just to kind of like get a little more context to the position, we are just going to start. Let's say this. Let's say we just did a go behind. Okay, so we can just start right here, one way or another, right? In high school wrestling, right, you have your foot that's up behind them, and you'd start here in your referee's position is what they call it, right? Okay, so in fact, how many wrestlers are in the house? Wow, not that many. It's the South. No one wrestles in Alabama. No. Okay, so either way, we're here. However you need to look at it. This is a gut wrench. Okay. In fact, in high school wrestling, I was really good at a gut wrench. I like to start on this side. I go extra deep, and look, I can get so deep with this tight waist or this gut wrench that just this kind of like this right here. This is how I'd get points in high school wrestling. Now, what you'll learn about a gut wrench. Let's stand up real quick. It's like if I have a shallow gut wrench, I can't pick up AJ. Maybe I can't pick him up at all. We're about to find out. AJ, a little thick, but
I know, I'm a little fat today.
this gut wrench really tight, and I get my hip just right. I can pick him up with one arm. Okay, that's a tight gut wrench. Okay, so there's a gut wrench. Go down. Have our gut wrench. We have our reverse gut wrench. This is a high school, this is Greco-Roman wrestling right here. One of the functions of this, grip in wrestling anyway, and there's all kinds of things going on. But like, I basically almost like start bending him in half. He didn't like it, so look how he started doing a shoulder roll. I'd help him do a shoulder roll. With wrestling, I just got 2 points. And now look, I put my other knee down, and I can start to bend him in half backward. I roll across the shoulder. That's 2 points. And 2 points. 2 points. I just won the match with the tech fall, right? Another thing this position is, I didn't watch pro wrestling very much growing up. My mom didn't let me, unfortunately. But who watched pro wrestling? More than the wrestlers. Okay, AJ's a little tick boy, but we'll see what I can do here. So I got my reverse gut wrench. You can see that. What's this in wrestling? Paw, right? Okay, but it only looks different because I'm standing, right? But in different contexts, I'm just in the truck. You know what I mean? So, putting these things together, okay? We're going to link it all, you'll see. So right now, if I'm on his right side, my right knee is down. Facing the same way, I go reverse gut wrench. Now this to me, this is still flippable, but it's much less flippable than other versions of the truck. So again, I'm going to bend him backward in half. I'm now going to take my left foot, because I'm on his right side, my right knee, I've driven it in between his legs deep. I'm stomping on his ankle, pulling him back. I'm still stomping on the ankle. Now I can easily put my grapevine / truck on. And now I'll just sit here and cook him. Right? How's that feel, AJ? Horrible. It's horrible. I'm just gut wrenching right now, which takes years to develop that squeeze. But like, I've literally tapped people out with just a gut wrench. Probably not AJ, but some people. So what starts to happen here is he's so uncomfortable and he's kind of forgetting about some of the things that's going on. One of my favorite things to do, of course, if his elbow's that flared, I'm just going right for the twister. Okay? But usually, they kind of curl up a little bit. Yeah, right? So again, I'm here because I already have my gut wrench on. It's curled up, so look what I do. I feed my hand. It was against his gut already there. And I figure 4. And I have this really, really strong banana split. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I could snap him down, and I could go behind, and then switch my reverse gut wrench. This is also how I took Imanari's back. With all this reverse gut wrench double in it again. Bending back halfward, back in half, and I'm stomping on this leg so I can easily put that grapevine on. That's a super important transition and detail to understand. So, I have a backpack, right? I'm over under here with my right knee in because I'm on his right side. Reverse gut, start bending him backward, stomping on the foot, and here. Now this is where I cook him for a second, right? And I kind of look at my options. I'm in no rush. Yeah. Okay, now look. It's all about my right hand, the hand that's across the belly. Okay? It reaches through, and the deeper I can go, the better. So, if I want to do the entire drill, I could go. I could even, again, just add it together. I go one way, boom. I'm now on this left side, so my left knee goes in, stomping, over. Maybe just go here at first, then if you can sink it deeper, real nice. Questions about this? Again, you can keep working on just the head snap and stuff like that, and then tie it to the gut wrench, or you can just start in reverse gut wrench. Yeah, of course. So I'll just start here. Over, under, reverse gut, smash, 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 truck. And this can take some fishing sometimes, and you're not always going to hit it. Sometimes I'll just end up going to the back. Still.
On the gut wrench, are you just cable gripping? Does it matter?
Really good question. Thank you. Yes. I am, whatever knee is through. Okay, my right knee is through. My right arm is gut wrenching. I'm actually initially going to grab my own leg. Right? I could do a lot of damage just here. In fact, there's one variation where AJ won't start, like I'm here, and he doesn't do that shoulder roll. He stays like on his base, yeah, a little bit. And so I'm here, and so I'll even step up on my foot. Look, I'm just breaking him in half. That probably sucked, right? And especially, like, sometimes, again, like, I'll make people scorpion. They're here, they don't want to go. Here, do it to me. But go gentle on my back. There's a little tweak right now. But. So, yeah, he goes here and starts bending me in half and start leaning back a little bit. And it'll pick my feet up off the ground. And look, people get here. They get scorpion hard. So they finally say, fuck it, I'll turn. And then he puts his truck on. You understand? So, again, snapping. Boom, I go reverse gut wrench. Don't be in a hurry. But yes, the right hand, this would be my grip. Right? And then, if I were to be on the other side of his body, my left arm would be grabbing my left leg, and then I would ball and socket that. And I'm leaning back, and I'm smashing and stomping. There it is. You got it? Let's go. Oh, that's so fast. I mean, look, here's one thing you have to understand about me and my style. Because I am not telling you what you should do. I'm telling you what you could do. I just give options. It's up to you to build your game. It's up to you to make your modifications. No one in this room is shaped exactly the same, right? So how could we do a move exactly the same? We all do moves differently based on how we're shaped. You know what I mean? Based on our attributes and stuff like that. So a Kimura is not just a Kimura. It's like, my Kimura is different than your Kimura and different than your. It's different for everybody just because we're shaped differently. Now there's like I don't mean disgusting, but I mean the gross shape, right? The big general shape of a Kimura. Okay, we get it. But then, when I do it to AJ, it's going to be totally different than if I were to do it to Steve, right? I mean, it's just all these different ways, okay? So again, what I'm saying, is a tree really called a tree? Is that really its name? No, we just agreed to call it that, right? So when I'm saying these words, right, they actually are not able to say what's actually trying to be said. You have to kind of read in between the lines a little bit, you know? It's not this, it's not that, it's not both, it's not neither. I know, sorry, it's confusing. But so here we are, we're working on our gut wrench stuff. Okay, so AJ's down, I'm in my front headlock. So it's nice, I call this, and you know, they're not very clever names, but this is a gut wrench. I'm calling this, or this is, yeah, the simple term would be gut wrench. Technically, it's a perpendicular gut wrench, as opposed to parallel gut wrench, where I haven't gotten behind the shoulder yet. Okay, and so this is what happened with me and Derek Rayfield last week. Here's exactly, well, I'm going to show you the idea of what sets it up, and then, again, like it's different compared to Derek has got longer and more flexible arms than anyone in my gym, so it's just different on him, you know? But I'm here, I'm attacking the neck, maybe I'm attacking arm. I say screw it, I'm going to go over and I'm just going to go, I'm going around his body. Now, what I don't want to I don't want him to let him pop his head out to one side or another. So I want to keep the back of his head on the center of my belly as best I can. So I'll pinch my elbows, I'll even squeeze my knees together. Now can you pop your head out to one side or another? No. Right? Okay. So they're used to getting their arms attacked and their head attacked and all this stuff. So he's going to tighten up a little bit more. He's going to bring, yeah, right there. Look, he just hit his arms. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's create some space so everyone can see. But understand that realistically, he would be here. But I want you all to be able to see. So look, reverse gut wrench. Man, this is going to be a tough angle. So move around, do whatever you got to do. He's hiding his arms, so bring, yeah, there. So look, I have my gut wrench. My parallel gut wrench. I'm going to drive my right hand to the mat in front of his arm. And I'm just punching straight down. Boom. I'm here, and this is exactly what happened with Derek last weekend. Here, I punched, I'm thinking gut wrench, I'm holding on to him. He can't reshoot on me because I'm not letting his head pop out to one side or another. I punch my hand to the mat. My other arm, look, is going to grab his wrist. And if you can't see, you'll see in 1 second, okay? Okay, so again, it's a punch and a grab. Now that I have that, I turn into a curl. Okay? So, punch, grab the far wrist, curl. Now I'm going to put my knee that's up behind his shoulder, and I'm going to pull him backward. This is my grip right here. Okay? Look how my knee is behind his shoulder. There's a lot of cool stuff going on right here. Without even letting go of the grip, if I had the ability, I would just put that triangle right on. Okay, now it's not like, I'm not going to be able to finish the triangle yet. And this is actually also how I finished one of my matches in the previous CJJ, where I got the wrist lock. I've been working on this inverted triangle stuff for a minute. Okay, and because it's also related to the gut wrench. So either way, here I am. One cool thing I could do, right, is now that I have this grip and everything's locked in, but the triangle's not quite there because it's a funny angle, I'll let go and come back through. And now I almost have like a Muay Thai plum on his arm, right? And now I'll use that to pull his arm behind him and just get that little Kimura tap there. Or, look, I'll zombie all the way through and I'll look for this arm bar. Or he'll roll his arm to hide the arm bar back in, and so I just turn my Kimura grip back on, which is now when I'll start going wrist lock, which is what I hit in CJJ, or a little of this. Or, of course, right, most likely he'll be putting his hands together, right? That's when with my Kimura grip, I'll reach through, pull the elbow tighter, and now I have the bite to finish the triangle. Okay, so I'm heading toward the triangle, but I'm just trying a whole bunch of stuff along the way. So, AJ, just for everyone's sake, go like this, about this much space. Yeah, like that. Because again, he's hitting his arms. So look, I'm punching to the mat. I'm reaching through and grabbing his wrist. Now I curl. Again, I'm kind of chilling here. I'm not in a big rush. Because he can't move. Look, my left hand is pulling him toward his right, and my right hand is pulling him. Can you turn either way, nope. AJ? It's a really strong grip. Even if he does hide his arm or anything like that, that doesn't matter. Because I'll also start to work again, almost like rubber guard type action here. See what I mean? So there's just kind of a lot going on. You know, try not to get too distracted by all the beautiful techniques and just try to, that's a Zoolander reference. Sorry, I knew that. You know, just again, I'm not telling you what you should do, I'm telling you what you can do. It's up to you to discover these things. One of the things, I'm a rock hound. I love looking for rocks, I love looking for arrowheads. And I've even found a silver dollar from 1887. I was way out in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. But look, the way you find an arrowhead is the same way you learn jiu-jitsu techniques. If you're sprinting across the terrain looking for rocks, you're never going to find anything cool. You've got to walk, you have to look at every single rock, every single thing, to just find that one good one that's actually, you know how many rocks look like arrowheads but are not arrowheads? Like so many, you know what I mean? So you've got to really inspect every single thing. You can't be in a rush to do any of this. You have to, again, you know, it's like Bruce Lee says, it's like, to paraphrase, if I point at something really cool, don't look at my finger, look at what I'm trying to point at, okay? And that's what I'm trying to do here. Don't look at these moves like too objectively, you know what I mean? Because they're, again, going to be different for everybody. I've snapped him down. Reverse gut. Punch the mat, grab the wrist. Opposite knee behind. Sometimes I'll adjust my grip as I go. Here's the grip. Now I'm happy. Right? And this is only the very beginning. If I could just, you know, easily get my leg through, that would be great. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes a little more work, and there's a lot more tricks we can use that we'll hopefully get to. Put your hands together maybe, or he's getting slapped in the face, so that means I'll go wrist lock, so he puts his hands together. Now I reach through, pull the elbow, and it's on. Questions?
Yeah, could you do that facing this way?
Sure. Wait, you want me to face this?
Just
you
over in this area.
You probably want me here.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, let's stand up.
Because it's hard to see the grips from this side.
Totally. These grips are, this is all bound up, right? We'll get a chance, hopefully, to look at it from other places too, but. to search for that arm a little differently, but I found it. Muay Thai Kimura grip, Muay Thai plum rather. Questions? Let's go. Do that chunk of gold, I'd melt it, and I'd bite it, and I would bend it, and I'd scratch it, and I'd test it, and I'd really, really look at it closely to get rid of all my doubt, to get rid of all my skepticism. You know, it's like these things are good, okay? We just gotta use them, right? Confusion. Again, confusion's good because it helps you go towards where you need to go. So look, it's all, I'm gonna say mirrored, okay? Because that might help things a little bit. Look, I'm gonna imagine AJ is going to just mirror me. So if I put my right hand forward, that's not a mirror. Does the mirror do that? You see, that's what I mean by mirror. Okay, so look, the mirrored side, good. Mirrored side, good. That's why we go mirrored stance. Versus, no, don't do anything. Versus the opposite, a staggered stance. You understand? So these terms can be helpful. So AJ is on his knees. So when I say mirrored side, I mean same side. I don't mean cross side, so to speak. Words are annoying, okay? He's on his hands and knees. The mirrored side, my right, his left, okay? Punches to the mat. Boom. My right, attacking the mirrored side, not the cross side. You understand? Is everyone following?
Yes, sir.
Now the opposite arm reaches through and grabs the wrist. Okay? Here, let's just do this upside down. Okay, so imagine I'm on top here. Because look, I'm telling you,
That's great.
I'm kind of an asshole. Like last night, BMAC asked me, he goes, "You working on top or bottom?" And I said, "I don't know the difference." You know what I mean? Like, I'll do this upside down, inside out, backward, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? The only reason it's different is because of gravity. If I was doing this in space, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So that's why I flip it upside down, so you can see, but it's the same thing. So just so you can see. So imagine still that I'm on top and he's not. Look, I punch, I grab, I curl. Now I get my opposite knee, like I connect my knee and my elbow. Again, the lock is funny as far as the triangle goes, but that's why I like this Kimura, because that doesn't matter the angle. So now, to try to get, or here's another thing. Because he feels like this triangle is so weird, what do you feel like you want to do right now, AJ? He wants to turn that way, exactly. So you see, look, if I can, I feel that he's turning that way, I turn with him, yeah, and now look, I beat him and I start doing this backward, there we go. He tapped there. I broke him in half backward. So, there's always an option, no matter what way they turn, any of this stuff, okay? So, look, punch. Again, my right knee is on the mat right now. Because I usually, it's like, look, if I was doing my whole drill that I showed you, I like my right knee on the mat typically. Which makes it easy so when I go punch, and again, one way, usually they have to put their arms there when they're really defending. So I'll just come here with it. Right now he's defending a little bit better. Boom, there it is. Punch, grab. Because I'm on my right knee, I now switch knees, and that's where I get a little dig. You see what's going on? Like a really cool drill that can be helpful, just in movement and all this stuff, is like a duck walk and a backspin. Step up, duck walk, backspin. Step up, duck walk, backspin. Step up, duck walk. That's kind of what's happening here. One side. Boom, boom, boom. See what's going on? Okay, let's try it out. Oh, I had to adjust. Let's say they're on their hands and knees. Let's say his arms are posted out. So again, I'm here. Now, obviously, I can't do the punch thing quite the same. Watch this. I'm gonna form it as I go. See that? That might be a little better way to drill it. I mean, you know, whatever works for you. Okay, let's move on. I think we're gonna break it down another way. It'll make sense. So, let's say I'm here in my reverse gut wrench. And, you know, people, at least in my gym, they kind of figure out my game a little bit. Try to mix it up, of course. So, I can't always get their arms. They hide them from me. Or whatever the case is. They don't let me dump them one way or another. So here's what ends up happening. Come here, got my reverse gut wrench. And I'll basically sit on his head. Now when I sit on his head, it's easy to make him roll forward. And look, this is kind of how I thought of all of this stuff. Right? I mean, this is just the essence of it. Okay? Now typically, he wants to turn one direction or another. Okay, so let's say he starts going towards his right. So watch, I'm going to let go of my left side. That's why it's also confusing because my left is his right. Okay, but again, he starts to turn. I turn this instead of like a New York type of a grip, right, or like a Williams guard, just backwards, front side, upside down Williams guard. As he turns, I'll turn it into a bicep block. Now look, I'm right back in to that Muay Thai plum supercharged armbar type of a thing. You understand? So again, here's another way we can look at it. He just lost everything. He can't do anything to me because he can't posture. You know, plus I want him to roll one way or another, but he wouldn't. This is not necessarily what I will do, but this is a way you can see what's happening. I call this a symmetrical grip. Okay? There's all these cool symmetrical grips in jiu-jitsu. Meaning, I can go left or I can go right, it's exactly the same. Right? Like another cool symmetrical grip, check this out. Sit on your butt real quick. So, we have Ashigarami. I call this split Ashi, where I now have a symmetrical grip. It's the same on either side. Okay? There's a few. Okay? But anyway, here's one. I snapped, I got ready, I sit, I pull him back, and I'm hugging those legs. Again, naturally, he wants to turn one way or another. I can guide him the way I want. Look, it all just fell right into place.
It's beautiful.
Pay attention to our space, because when I'm flipping him, I don't want him to stomp on someone's face. It's all crowded in here. Just get here. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, because we're running low on time already, it seems. Sometimes I'm trying to roll him forward, but these gnarly wrestlers, they don't do it, so he starts to posture and starts to. So look, I'll go the other way. I can go, because it's a symmetrical grip, front or back, or left or right, upside down, inside out, right? Turn all Dr. Susie in here. Okay, so. See what's going on? Maybe? No? It's all right. If you don't understand step 4, master step 1. And then master step 2. And then 3 and 4. So all you need to do right now, if you're super confused, is get your reverse gut wrench and come here. And if you could, do this. That would be good. Right? Because now, what do you got, AJ? Nothing. You ain't got shit. Okay? And then we'll figure out some other questions, besides all of them. Let's go. If I'm on his chest, I'm on his rib cage, it's going to be one thing. Okay, so look, I'm on his rib cage, and so right now, his shoulders are about with my shoulders, right? Which makes it easy for me to, again, hug my legs. Now, let's say that I was a little loose or fast or something like that, and I was all the way here. Okay, now this can be, I can still grab my legs for sure. But also, let's say he brings his elbows in a little bit more. Well, now it's a little harder, but so I'll go here. I'll then, instead of trying to hug my legs, I need to open the space. I open the space with my hands as much as I can. Now I'll start to pass it off right to my legs. Now, I'm right-handed. I've swung a hammer. I used to build houses, so I can hit really hard with my left hand, but I almost never swung my hammer with my left hand. Well, with Derek, I was here, and he's got these long flexible arms. I couldn't do the damage I want with my left hand because I can't hit that hard. I was trying with my right. Ultimately, it would have been a different story, I promise you, if I had brought him to the right side of my body. Here, boom, that would have been terrible. You could defend a little better because I was on my other side. But either way, you know what I mean? If nothing else, and look, and again, it's just Derek, different than a lot of people. But some people, I do tap out with just this. I had this one guy that was super flexible as well. He sat up, I got down to his elbows, but I put on a guillotine. I'm not gonna try and do it to AJ. You see what I mean? Okay, so that's all I'm saying about how high we are up on their body. This way, maybe just for fun instead of rolling in forward. I know forward roll, and again, I can't even help but do that. Just come by. One more time. Let's say I don't hit that right away. Right? Or no, he hides, because again, I want yes. There it is. So it's usually a one at a time thing. It's usually like, okay, I bust it open, and all I'm doing is cracking the shell a little bit, and my foot is what really opens it up. Now, I would love to get my second one for the reverse full Nelson, and sometimes it happens. But also, once I get one side, if I feel any struggle whatsoever, I'll just pull you to that side, and I'll go more crucifix with it. You understand? Now, but from this crucifix, I mean, there's so many other things going on. My gosh. For one, probably wants to try to put his hands together. That makes it easy for me to shoot my leg through this arm crush. Okay? It's like a sneaky kamikaze. You guys know what that is from truck. But the crucifix is truck of the shoulders, so to speak, instead of truck of the hips. Okay, so, and that's because I have my bottom leg hook. If I had the top leg hook, I would have to pass it on. Or, maybe I can't get it because however it's directed, I'll now just use it, go to my third triangle. Again, my angle is a little funny, but that's okay, because more than anything, I'm going to try to wrist lock him. I probably finish that more people. Or again, because the angle is kind of weird, I might help him start to roll up, because he thinks this is where he wants to go. Now everything's in line. Tap right there, maybe you didn't see. You guys kind of see what's going on here? So, however high or low we are on the body will matter. So again, now I'm way more on his gut, and he keeps his elbows tighter. Right, so I can't get my hands in to hug my legs the way I want, but I can maybe crack the shell and bring a foot in. Now maybe I can crack the other shell and bring my other foot in and start doing all this. Or I got one arm, I try cracking the shell, can't do it, so I just pull him to that side, and I'm now hooked up into my crucifix with, I just sit right in triangle, but again, arm crush. Part of it. So again, planting seeds. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. I'm not telling you what you should do, I'm telling you what you can do. It's up to you to build your game, right? You wouldn't even want me to build your game. I couldn't build your game, right? I don't know how you think and how you move. Only you do, right? So I'm just giving you options. Let's go. We're just taking our time looking at these things. This, chew on it, right? It'll percolate over the next few months. And then maybe someday I'll come back and you'll be ready for the next lesson because of the lesson today. This is not a perfect art. Like, to me, look, I'm more like I'm not like on Salvador Dali level, of course, but like that style of art versus like photorealism, you know? Look, and we all like different art. And photorealism, I can look at it and be like, holy shit, that's beautiful. But I love the landscape with the melting clocks and the weird, like that's what I'm into. You know what I mean? Now this is all my personal opinion, you know what I mean? So take it for what it's worth. But I'm just gonna be real with you. I see a lot of people that are obsessed with photorealist jiu-jitsu. And they say that's what's right. That's bullshit. That's not what's right. That's what's right for them. Okay? I like that Salvador Dali, that Picasso, that weirdness. You know? I don't want to be, I'm more like a spider painter. You know what I mean? So, because again, like, if I start to act like there's only one way to do things, but there's infinite body types, what kind of sense does that make? This is how I see it. You know what I mean? So, again, I like to play a little fast, a little loose, and not super tied to doing anything a certain way. In fact, I think that's the problem with our society these days, is there's a formula for success. There's what you do. There's the grind, right? We have a term, 9 to 5. This is what you do. This is how you succeed and get what you want. It's like, wait, I don't think like you. You don't think like me. Why should we all go to work at the same time and stop and eat lunch at the same time and get off work at the same time to then go watch TV and drink beer to then go to bed because I have to get up the next morning and do all that same bullshit again? That doesn't make any sense. Animals don't do that, you know? So when you like prescribe to a set of rules and you stuff yourself in a box, so let me tell you something, that box doesn't even exist. People say think outside the box. There is no box. We first believe there's a box, and that instantly traps us, you know? And so, yeah, like for jiu-jitsu, you know, there was a time where I was like, whoa, I was just comparing myself to other people and how they do jiu-jitsu. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Do your jiu-jitsu. Don't do John Danaher's jiu-jitsu. I mean, you can learn from John Danaher. You can learn from me. Don't do my jiu-jitsu. But do your jiu-jitsu. That's what this is all about. Don't just have that 9 to 5, unless that's what you want. Look, I was talking to another friend recently about the difference between Penn State and like Iowa, right? Like Penn State, taught by Cale Sanderson's the coach there. A couple years ago when I was watching the NCAA's, before every match he would tell his guys, he'd say, wrestle loose and have fun. Wrestle loose and have fun. And then I hear that they like almost never like live roll. They play live wrestle. They play wrestle in the night a lot. As opposed to Iowa, it's this, that grind. And you know what? Not one of them is right. They're just right for different people. You know what I mean? There's not one way to do things. There's an infinite way of doing things because there's an infinite amount of variables and body types and personalities and attributes and all these things. Okay? So, find your truth. That's all I'm trying to say. I got AJ here. Maybe I don't want to go forward. Maybe I don't want to bring him. I don't want to do forward roll. I don't want to make him do forward roll. He's learning my side-to-side game. In fact, just the one side, right? Because at first, it was all about the pose and the grip and then hitting it here. That's what it was all about. Okay? So then, I figured, well, I'll just do an extra rotation and see what happens. You know what I mean? So he's used to me just tipping to my left hip. Boom. And the game's on. Okay? So now, I'm just going to go all the way through. I'm going to roll him across. And now I got my grip. Okay, look, I just fell into this, it's like a supercharged crucifix. It's not just a Kimura crucifix. And now I'm here with, this is my other position that I want to hit and see good here. Right? These are my goals. Right? And then of course from here, I can still pass off the inverted triangle and look where I am. I'm in that supercharged armbar that we were hitting off of our little Muay Thai Kimura finish. You understand? So, instead of just tipping once, I'm now going to do a full roll, full barrel roll. Snapping, tipping, rolling all the way over. And look it's all about the bicep grip. You see, that's the real key to everything here. Right? I mean, the gut wrench, yes. But let's look at this. Gut wrench, bicep block. Gut wrench, bicep block. They're right next to each other. So even with these bicep blocks, like AJ, what does he want to do? You know, he's going to try to turn one way or another, right? As soon as he starts doing any of these things, right, it's giving you the opportunity to put that inverted triangle on. Even if it's an imperfect grip, until I adjust it for later, right? So really, if we were to just make it just hopefully in its simplest form, I've flipped in with the reverse gut wrench, mess with this bicep grip, you know, play side to side or whatever else, but really, it's a bicep. Think of a zombie triangle. Yeah. Oh yeah, just here, a little tiny area. So, again, instead of just tipping to one side and playing that little game, he's not sure what I'm gonna do. Go all these different ways. Right there, I'm landing in. Bah! I've just had to free flow through it right to my. It all leads to the same place. You just gotta realize that. You know what I mean? You get a little off track, grab a Kimura grip, it'll put you back on track.
Nate, quick question.
Sir.
Are you using your, in this case, left knee to start turning his shoulders when you start to roll? Is that the thing that's
Probably. I mean, that definitely helps. But I think it's just more than, I think it just naturally happens. Yeah, I am blocking his tricep. Yeah, just naturally. But then this is where we would stop if we were going just here. Remember now, he's kind of used to this arm being attacked. So that's why I pull him all the way over. Try and pass it off. Oh yeah, this is the one. So again, one more time. Let's try and go slow with it. Let's turn this way.
It's just a new bound.
If my leg went in front of his face, I go triangle. If it goes behind his face, now I'm in my supercharged crucifix. And for that arm bar, we're turning it back into a Kimura grip. Going for my arm crush. Stepping through. Here's something I learned about myself this last weekend. I have no idea what I'm gonna do ever. You know what I mean? Whereas like my second match, Danny Stolfi, I can feel he has his game that he's trying to hit. He's really trying to implement his game. I'm not. I don't know what my game is necessarily. I don't ever know what I'm gonna do. You know, I mean, in life too, you know what I mean? Like, because also, you can plan and think, but when do you make a decision? In that moment, not 2 weeks before that moment. You have ideas, like there's been tons of times where I think I'm gonna do it one way, and then in the moment I do it totally different. You know what I mean? So don't get so, just understand it's all about being in the moment there. You didn't always have to go all fast. Again. You got it?
Sir.
Sir.
Do you mind teaching the arm crush, the Americana with your legs? I feel like mine can't work.
Yeah. So one thing I saw, go in my head. So, got it passed off to my bottom leg already, let's say. Saw one person trying to, they locked it up all nice, and then they tried to Americana this person. That's not how it works. It's easier when they do put their hands together, believe it or not. So look, I feed it through. Now watch, I'm gonna make sure that it's secure, but AJ, you can feel it's secure, but I'm not using any pressure, right? I'm totally relaxed. I lock it in, and I go 10, 20, 30, 40. I got 40% when he tapped. But could you see me moving? Nothing, you couldn't tell a change. Maybe just slightly. 1, 2, 3. Tapped on 3. You know what I mean? It's not a ripping and tearing, it's just closing of space. I'm kicking my left leg out. Look, you could also do it here. Right? Like sometimes I'll hit this. So again, here's the configuration. I'll be in my reverse Kesukatami. This is actually with my top leg instead of bottom leg, but it's the same idea. Understand? It's funny how we see moves as different from each other. You know what I mean? But this crucifix is just right next to my reverse Kesa, where there's all kinds of super dope options. You know what I mean? There's so much going on. All right. So there's your does that help a little bit?
Thank you.
What we're trying to do is go nice and smooth and slow, and just try to feel, try to trick them into reacting the way we want. Let's go. Reverse gut wrench stuff. Because reverse gut wrench is a double underhook. I'll do the same thing over and over again. So I got AJ here. He's sitting on his butt. Yeah. Okay. How can I reverse gut wrench? That's the question. Right? I could lift his legs, go double unders, throw him, and now I'm in my reverse gut wrench. Right? Been doing that for a while. Again, that's exactly how I took the knowledge back. We're all double unders. Okay? But I can also start to check the equipment. As he, just like when we started, we pushed and snapped and kicked. Now I'm pushing, and when he leans back into me, pulling, doing a shoulder roll. I'm in my reverse. I'm in this whole thing that we've been in this whole time. I'm landing there. I can go into all of my game. Or I can walk over, put a hook in, go through with it, and I'm in my twist. Wow. Okay? It's a little fishing sometimes.
No fishing.
Shoulder roll.
Piece of cake.
Nice and slow. So, look, we're all saying all these crucifixy, all these things. I could just go in against it again. See what I mean? It's not different anywhere. A gut wrench is a gut wrench, no matter how small. No some more Dr. Seuss. Sorry, guys. Okay, so now he's sitting on his butt. That's the only change in it. I don't even care if he grabs my leg. I really don't. Because he's not gonna look. By grabbing onto that leg, he just gave me all the things I want. So then maybe he lets go of that leg to hide those elbows. So I get perpendicular. And now look. I'm in my truck with the reverse gut wrench. Back into our crotch ripper that we started with. You understand? Okay, now it all came full circle. Put a few reps in. Let's go. The last year has been weird for everybody, you know? So this is the most normal I have felt in a really long time. So thank you all, you know, for getting me there. You know? Florida. Yeah, no doubt. And,
You guys think you should move to Florida and open up a 10th plant somewhere?
well, listen, my lease is up in 4 years. My wife wants to move to Florida, so who knows? 4 years might happen. We'll be here in Thailand or some cave somewhere. I don't know.
Message him all the time. He messages him.
Have any of you guys heard of the Mandelbrot set? Any mathematicians in here? The Mandelbrot set? It's the repeating fractal, it's an infinite thing. So here's, it took me a minute to understand, like mathematically I don't understand it at all. But it's just like, look at any of these like really trippy posters. Go to some smoke shop or some stoner's house where they've got some picture up or whatever of crazy art, right? I was just having this conversation, which is funny because I was going to say this anyway. The way fractals work, you look at something that's super complicated and crazy and wild, you don't really see anything. It just looks like chaos. But then you hone in and you see one shape. You're like, oh, I see a swirl. and then I see how that swirl connects to that swirl, and then all of a sudden it creates this big, or like the Fibonacci spiral. It's very related. Okay. When you look at a fractal, it's chaotic until you zone in on one piece and you see something that your brain can understand, like a triangle or a circle or a little spiral. Okay. So to see one thing in a fractal is to not see the rest of the fractal. Meaning, if I look at you and I see you as you, that's me not realizing that you're not separated from any of this crazy chaos all around you. You're just like the little triangle or the little circle in the fractal, but without that little triangle or without that little circle, the fractal wouldn't even exist. It's all built off of that one little tiny thing. So one person is as important as the whole. And that's exactly the way jiu-jitsu is. People get so obsessed with a move. But to objectify a move is to forget about how it's connected to everything else. Now at the same time, you have, that's the learning process, You have to see the small pieces and then put them all together just to realize it's all a whole. It's like a car. You look at a car and it's a car. But you take it apart, it's made a whole bunch of different pieces that do totally different things. Without one of those pieces, the car wouldn't work. Right? So, you take the car, it's a whole, you break it all apart, you see all the different pieces, but then you put it all back together, it's just a car. It's the same way people are, literally in life, it's the same way jiu-jitsu is. You see jiu-jitsu, and then you look at all the different grips and positions and moves, just to blend them all back together again. Something I always say that my students are probably tired of hearing is jiu-jitsu is one move. I don't know how to explain that other than just that. Jiu-jitsu is one move. And when you see two moves, you're missing the non-dual nature of it. The not two. It's one. So when you see two, you just got to know that's an illusion. And the truth is that it's all fully connected. You know what I mean? These are the things that help me. Just these thoughts. This is how I see jiu-jitsu. It's the only way I can explain it to you guys. And then the last thought I want to leave you with is kind of like I was saying about how we're all told we have to do something a certain way. It's like before the last CJ, granted I didn't win it. You know what I mean? I took second again, right? It hurts, but at the same time, it's more fuel for the fire. But I was, my life is busy. I got kids, and everyone's lives are busy. It's chaotic, But I'm changing poopy diapers. I'm trying to keep my lawn mowed so it's not knee high, so my kids can play in it and not step in dog crap. You know what I mean? There's a lot. I'm trying to run my business, trying to have a good relationship with my wife. I'm not able to get up and lift weights and then roll hard twice a day. So I was feeling guilty. I'm like, I'm not training like a professional athlete would train. And then I realized, wait, but how would Nathan Orchard train? That's a different thing than how a professional athlete would train. To say professional athlete, that's to put myself in a box that doesn't exist, that I don't fit in. So instead of saying, I need to train the way everyone's telling me I need to train, that's one thing about the death squad. We train twice a day, 7 days a week, 365. It's cool, now half of you guys have staph infection, now Gordon Ryan can't digest his food. You know what I mean? It's sad, And so if I tried to do what they did to try to get what they got, I would end up like them. And I don't necessarily want that, I want my expression, I want my style, I want my life. So I am now training the way I want to train, not the way people are telling me I need to train. I'm eating the way I want to eat, not the way everyone's telling me I need to eat. I'm sleeping the way I want to sleep, not telling. Listen, my mind lies to me all the time. My heart, my body, they don't. It's just I'm so busy listening to my mind that I can't hear my heart. I can't hear my body. Give me those signals. But part of these signals are fun, right? If you're having, jiu-jitsu is hella fun, right? So that's how you know you should be doing it. As soon as it becomes shitty and boring or a grind and you're not motivated, you're doing something wrong. You gotta chase the fun again. Get rid of that grind, find your way, stop trying to be what everyone else tells you should be, just be you. Right? Thank you all. Appreciate it.